Many Hands Make Life Work by Yvonne Gardiner. Pottsville Beach, 2489. Narrated by Chloe Schwank. I guess the simple answer to what made me is that my mum and dad had a very enjoyable time together sometime in October 1950, and then I popped out on June 2, 9 months later. Realistically, the elements that created me are countless. Physically, my relatives would have had a major influence, although my social circle probably determines to a large extent my diet and health behaviors. I no longer smoke. I walk most days and I steer away from fattening foods, with varying degrees of success. As for my psychological traits, well, that's a tough question to answer. Everything that's had an impact on my senses would surely contribute to how I think, feel, behave. Regarding my parents and siblings, each of them, in their own way, has helped shape my personality, opinions, way of life, and ambitions. My bossiness, read organizational skills, I attribute to my younger brother, John. As the oldest child in the family, it was my duty to bring said brother into line and to impart my superior intellect to him at every opportunity. I can't say that he ever appreciated my desire to improve him. My sister Angela was 8 years younger than me, while John and I objected strongly to the child-minding duties imposed upon us by her presence. Looking after and caring for this darling girl made me into a more responsible and loving person. So much of me was moulded by my upbringing on a council estate in the English Midlands. Braunston Estate was not looked upon as the most sought-after area of my hometown, Leicester. Growing up among disadvantaged folk is an education in itself. Some are the kindest, most caring people, I discovered. Others, my father included, were cruel, disgruntled, and a blight on society. As a young child, I would be sent to neighbours to beg for cigarettes, food, or money. That bitter experience ingrained in me the desire to always be self-reliant. I will always remember my primary school years with affection. My teachers fostered a love of learning, and my friends provided many happy memories. The library, close to my childhood home, was an escape from my undesirable situation and gave me a good grounding in English literature and language. These skills led me later in life to complete an arts degree and become a journalist, so they were indeed decisive factors in my upbringing. My school, Braunston Hall, was a former manor house built in the middle of a vast park. There I was exposed to the sheer delight of the natural world, nature walks, stately old trees, wild spaces, floral splendours. All through life I have found solace and joy in wildlife and nature. My home is now the very beautiful northern rivers of New South Wales. I couldn't be further away from my birthplace, yet past memories and learned experiences linger within me. A strong work ethic, an overwhelming desire to own my home, the importance of family, a love for English pubs, a hatred of cold weather, the main reason for coming to Australia, all of these elements of me travelled as baggage to a new country. Heartache came with me too. I never again saw my grandparents, who taught me so much about generosity and affection. At times, I can feel my grandmother's warm embrace, her cosy fragrance and woolen cardigan tickling my nose. I imagine she was disappointed when I went off the rails in the latter years of grammar school. The troublesome boyfriends, late-night discos, communal living and erratic lifestyle may have been best avoided. I was indisputably a teenager at risk and ended up on probation. When I became pregnant at 17, I decided to put a stop to my unstable way of life. I wanted better for my child. So in the space of 2 years, I married, gave birth to my son Oliver, and migrated to the lucky country. In the first 5 years in Australia, we moved 5 times along the east coast. I had a second son, Alexander, along the way. Does that sound like a stable existence? It certainly wasn't, and the trauma of those years without any family support close by has given me a greater understanding of the battles all migrants and refugees have to fight. Finally, when Oliver started school, our family stopped moving and we settled in a town I called home for 40 years, Ipswich in Queensland. My mother, from whom I should have learned patience and good humour, joined us in the early 1980s after leaving her English home. She helped in my catering business and supported me through a difficult marriage breakdown. There's no doubt this gentle soul has a central role in defining my makeup. I joined Ipswich Little Theatre, an activity that gave me the confidence I had lacked previously. After selling the catering business, I enrolled at TAFE College to acquire the employment skills I needed to begin a worthwhile career. My Ipswich friends deserve great credit for helping me achieve my ambitions. Enormous gratitude goes especially to my second husband, John, for the love and joy he has brought to my life. In the 30 years we've been together, we have shared many travel adventures and built a comfortable home. And, of course, grandchildren, we have 9 between us, are the icing on the cake of a life that means something. All of these influential factors made me the being I am today. I carry the memories and scars of the past with me, like a repository of my existence. Life is much like a chocolate layer cake, built up gradually, with a cherry on top. That delicious cherry, I'm certain, represents my senior years, a sweet time for doing all the things that please me most. I'm still working on me. The end.